An
This
interview, so I
conference
was
will now be
preparing.
recorded.
Sorry, can you please
No,
repeat?
I had an interview on Power BI, so I was preparing for that, so I didn't prepare.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Nirosha, Deva? Hello? Deva, I can't hear you. Nirosha, are you talking? You're not able to unmute. Okay. Keep, may I just say unmute or keep muted? Can you just do it now? Try it unmute. Now try. I sent you a request actually to unmute. Okay. No worries. Can you just text me what we have covered that day? Or Nirosha, can you hear me? Please try to rejoin. Nirosha, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we have kind of like covered how we can really connect or create a CI/CD pipeline and how we can really run the Azure CLI inside the Azure CLI. Azure, you can say when we are really kind to create how we can really create that. 1 minute. Let me see. Okay. So go back. Is it recording started? Yeah. Okay. And let me share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So we've seen, right? In case if I just kind of like reiterate what we have done that day, I'll just quickly give you some understanding. That's saying that we have this complete pipeline, right? And we have seen that first of all we have a build and a deploy pipeline. That's what I think we have discussed that day, correct? Build and deploy, and we have seen that how we can really do that from the implementation. So when we are really trying to do right using this pipeline, we have also added one more additional step here, and that is kind of like infrastructure as a code, right? And for this one we are using Azure CLI, correct? And I've showed you how we can really run a command line interface using this one, and I asked you guys to go ahead and try it by your own because I haven't really provided you the script, but I wanted you to really develop and create the script. The code is already there. Inside that one, the script is also there. There's nothing you have to really write. The only thing which I'm really looking for is how you kind of like experience this particular approach because you are the one who will be creating this on a regular basis, right? So you should really know about these things. Perfect. That's what the main terminology really comes into the picture. Now, so far we have seen some of the services which are kind of like very old, and not old, but I'm saying that which are really get used by companies like these processes, right? When you talk about IAC, infrastructure as a code, build and deploy, and yes, there are companies actually for using the tools for this one. So in the IAC we are using something like a Azure CLI. We are using a Docker here, right? And when I'm done with the Docker, the next step for Docker for me is the ACR. So that is my no my endpoint. Why endpoint? Because I'm going with this particular flow, correct? When I'm running the build pipeline, I'm running a Docker task, and in that Docker task I'm building up the image and I'm pushing that image to my ACR. Okay, that's the main thing which we are really trying to do. Second thing is when we are done with this one, so this is my service, the Azure service. Secondly, when I'm really doing the deployment here, I'm using the task as a app service task, deployment task, right? As service deploy task. And this is going to deploy into the app services. Six, web app. Whenever I talk about, I'm just saying web app. Perfect. And this particular command is kind of like creating these two services. So if I just put up these as a one more whole, one more section, I'll just say this one. So this Azure CLI, okay, is going and kind of like putting up inside this one. This is what is really happening. Perfect. So this Azure CLI is going and creating these two services first, and once these services are available, then Docker is running the build and pushing the image. Once the image is pushed, then we are kind of like configuring this into the application service. We are deploying this application service, and this application service is also injecting all the configuration details from my ACR to my web application. Now why we really want this? Because we know that when we are going to create this one, this guy will be requiring the application configuration. So all this setup, right, everything whatever you are seeing on the screen right now, it is all getting done by our Azure pipeline. Okay. And for this Azure pipeline, where are we really storing this one? We are storing this in Azure repo. Perfect. So our entire journey start at Azure repo. Everything whatever we have like files and my folders and everything, my AAC code, my pipeline code, everything is inside my Azure repo. From that Azure repo, it is starting my pipeline. From the pipeline, it is going with the multiple things, right? First it is going with IAC, then it is going with something like build, and then it is going with the deployment, and then individual things. And this is what we are kind of like going and say like I'm creating this particular thing as a deployment from IAC. So this is how the overall pipeline setup which we have seen. This is a very basic one. I'm not saying that this is a very heavy or kind of like a very real world setup is there. Yes, in some extent, but not exactly. Why? Because in real world you can really do this one, but this is a very simple use case. Okay, what we are going to learn in this particular course is that how we can really convert this from a basic one to the more advanced one. Okay, so when I say basic, this is a basic thing. We are going to have repos, we are going to have this IAC and everything, build and deployed everything. Fine, but we are going to replace two things here. Okay, the first thing is we are going to replace this Azure CLI. Or I'm not saying that we are going to completely replace, but we are also going to add one more additional parameter here, or one more thing here. That is Terraform. Okay, so now what is going to happen is my Terraform will come into the picture and will create the environment. It will provision the environment, whatever I'm talking about. So this is the word, right? Provisioning. Provision the environment. It will create this as whatever the environment I'm going to create in Azure. I'll just mention this as Azure, so it will be more aligned, saying that this is my Azure environment. And inside Azure, I'm going to provision these services. Now, apart from these things, what we are going to do is, yes, build is exactly the same one. We are not going to change anything in the build, so build will be exactly same. Docker, yes, we are going to use the Docker. ACR, yes, we are going to use the ACR here. There is no change here, at least in the ACR. So we will need a ACR here, but we are going to create something like a Kubernetes cluster, K8. Okay, and we know that why K8, because Kubernetes short form is a K8. Okay. Now, whenever you have a K8, definitely here we are going to change the different deployment task. So here also we are going to see that we are going to combine this in the two way. First is we are going to combine this and we are going to use something like a Helm. Okay, Helm chart. So the transformation which we are going to do here, and then Helm chart will be separate color. So I'm just putting up separate color here. So just to ensure that, and this is also a separate color, right? So I'll just put up something like this. So now, as you can see here, from the basic to the advanced, but the in advanced there are quite a few things actually got changed. Maybe I'll just put up not this one. I'll just say this. In this, I'll just say yeah, something like this. Okay. So now I can see that okay, there is a whole new topic actually which got added into my advanced pipelining, and that is what we are going to learn. And this is what the best practices which is there, because now whenever we are going to create this one, the initial deployment and provisioning everything we are actually going to create here. But there's one more thing which we can really do here. We can put this in a two ways. Okay. Generally, we are using everything as a single pipeline. Like we are creating infrastructure as a code in the same pipeline. We are creating and we are building up the application and everything. We can do the same thing. We are going to just kind of like put this in a more microservice driven architecture. And you know that microservice is what you are actually creating smaller services, smaller pipelines, smaller applications which can really act differently. So the job of that particular thing is completely different. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to combine, or we are going to cut down these one pipeline into two pipeline. What that two pipeline will really look like is that once I have this Azure implementation, so the first IAC, I'm going to create in a separate pipeline. So I can maintain that IAC and I can actually have a completely different ownership of this particular repos, okay, for a different DevOps people only. So only DevOps, right? So in case if I have a new guy or a team, we say like DevOps, which generally we are as working as a DevOps, this DevOps team, okay, will be connected to this Azure repo. So they will be ensuring that they have all these things. However, because this is a one-time task, or maybe I'm not saying one time, but you are not going to change it regularly. Infrastructure as a code is something which you don't touch regularly, but yes, whenever you want, you can really touch it and you can make a changes here. But this build and deploy is something which is definitely a regular option. So how we are going to cut down this one? So we are going to change this. So say like in case if I move it here, okay, just to give you some more perspective. So we are going to delete this particular option from our main, or from our from our pipeline, one pipeline, where we are just going to keep this one section, and in the second section we are going to remove this one. I don't want it here. Okay. So the second option is only for deploying, and here I'm going to give access to my developer. Perfect. Now only developer will be able to communicate to this particular Azure repos, and then he will be ensuring that everything is going and getting deployed here. So build and deploy here. Now there is one third option is really getting introduced in this particular ecosystem. So the third option is when we are talking about the implementation and everything, this deploy piece is also something which we are going to kind of like you know remove. Why? Because when we are trying to deploy this one, there are multiple things. If you remember, right, last time I think Ramana asked me that what is the DevSecOps strategy and how these things and everything works. So what I want to really do is I want to keep this repository, or this particular thing repository, only for build and build related activities, which can be vulnerability scan, which can be securities, which can be doing all sort of static code analysis, everything. So they will get added here. So they will be like here you will be having your code scanning, okay, code scan. And then once the code scan is done, then you can see vulnerability scan. And then once your vulnerability scan is done, then you can really do the do some kind of a image scan. And once the image scan is done, then you will going to push that. So this is how it will really put up this information back to there, and then your Docker push will really do. So this entire pipeline, I want to keep it only restricted with developer. I don't want to make any changes here. And then I'm going to again create these two options separately and create a separate pipeline for that. Perfect. And this pipeline is just one piece wherein we are going to just run, because in this overall system, what I want, say like in case if I move it here, 1 minute, okay, in this Azure DevOps thing, what I really want, I will be having all my Helm charts. Now, Helm chart, just consider this is something like, you are going to run some YAML files like the Azure system, which Kubernetes understand. We will get into a more detail about YAML and all. Don't worry about it. But yes, this is something, we will be getting into the details. Once we have this, then my image, because here in my section, what I'm going to really do. Or in case if I ask you that I want to run a command here, a Docker command, because everything is running on a Docker command here, right? Now I want to say this particular Helm chart. These are some configuration, and in this configuration, I'm just going to mention. I'm just giving a high level understanding, saying that hey, look, go ahead and create a container. This is my configuration. I'm just saying container name is say like I'm saying web app one. Okay, image name is I'm going to say the complete image name, whatever that I have, acr.io. This is something which we really want, and or maybe the the repository or registry name, and then I'm going to mention say like image name, and I'm going to say web app, and I'm going to say image tag. Okay, and I'm going to mention say like one. And every iteration it is going to change, right? One, then two, then three, then four, then five. Every time whenever I'm creating, I'm running this particular build, it is going and creating or changing this particular thing. And this one particular variable which I'm really going to use here, right? This is the variable which I have. This one variable is something which I want to ensure that it is getting continuously changed, and this is stored in my Helm chart as a value file, say like, okay, this is my value file. So what I want is, whenever my pipeline executed, whenever a image is created and pushed to my ACR, it will have some image tag already, right? Image tag means image name and image tag. I just want this information, okay, whatever the information I'm putting up here, this information to just get updated into my tag. That's it. This one, it should update this. That is the only thing which I want. Now once I get updated here in my Helm chart, which is I will just put up this side, so it will be easy for me to really put up in this one, and then I will just extend this, and my this image tag. That's it. So my image update, once this is done, this image will be get updated, and then my pipeline will again get executed. Why I want to create another repository? Because I want to use this DevOps person to create these repository and also own this particular repository, so he knows what is really happening and he can control that end to end. So now the developer's job is to just push it to the only one repository which is assigned to him, which is responsible for only building, scanning, okay, and pushing that image into the image repository. Now, can you please repeat what I just said? I want to make sure that you guys are 100% aligned and understood what I just said. So, can someone help me to understand and what your version and what you have really understood in last maybe how much 20 minutes or 15 minutes discussion? Anyone? Please repeat what I just said or what I trying to mean here, or any questions, because I'm sure you might be having hundreds of questions, but I don't know why you don't asking. But it's okay. But I want to at least understand that are we aligned? Deva or who else is there? Gautam, what is your understanding? What you understood from this? Gautam, hello, hello, guys, can you hear me? Hello, Deva, Tulsi, Nirusha, can you guys hear me? Guys, at least say something. Are you able to hear me or no? I don't know what to say. Hello, yeah, Nirusha, go ahead. Hello, I can't hear you. I don't know. Mm, I don't know what's happening. What's going on? I don't understand what's going on. Hello, Gautam, can you hear
Uh,
me?
yeah, now I can hear you. Previously, I was unable to unmute it, so I have rejoined.
Okay, yeah, I think can you guys try Deva or other guys? Just try to unmute. Just try to rejoin. I think he is able to do it. Okay, Gautam, no problem. So Gautam, yeah, please go ahead.
But
What you understood?
to be frank, I need to this is kind of a new topic. I need to first check on the last two previous videos to understand it better. For me, it is a completely
No, but I understand that one. Forget about the back thing. Whatever I've just discussed, are you able to understand? Just repeat what I just said. It could be, don't forget about right or wrong. I am not really wanted to get into that right or wrong discussion thing. I just want to understand whether you understood this or not. Because I don't know, like, how to say that, but I don't know.
That's what I said. You were discussing about the pipeline and all that, but I need to be frank, I'm not aware of this and all. So I first, if I at the understanding level also, I'm just listening. So if I see the previous videos, I will at least get to know the idea on what you are saying. So that is why I didn't raise any questions as well.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I had an interview yesterday, so completely last 4 days I was been concentrating on those itself.
No use, guys. Perfect. Okay. So I assume you understood everything. So fine, no problem. I'm okay with that, and that's good. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, we are going to really now see because look, everything is is getting more critical now, right? We have seen, and I hope you have so far, because my understanding is you should have at least understood this piece. Forget about this thing. Okay, how we are going to do it, how we are going to mention this particular thing. Maybe you can for now you can just keep it in mind. This is how a transformation really look like from here to here. We are going from here to here. Okay, and at least if you are aware, if you know these things, then yes, it will be easy for you to actually get into more understanding on this particular piece. But if you haven't really gone through this particular piece, forget about understanding this one, because I don't think you will be able to really get this. But yeah, keep practicing. Practice is the only thing which you can really get into. So you have to make sure that you are putting up everything aligned and you are really getting everything in the proper manner. Perfect. Let's get started. So now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to explain you how we are going to kind of put this in a separate way, and we can really execute, and we can really run this in a separate, completely separate model. Okay, and we are going to add something like a Terraform, which can be really useful when we are creating multiple resources within the Azure. Okay, now, so when we are actually created the Azure CLI, right? I think we have already seen the Azure CLI, and I think I've showed you. Let me go back and let's go here. Not here in the pipeline. I think we have seen this and pipeline, and that day I've showed you, right? Build and push. I think this is what we have done. And okay, check out Docker. Okay, I think so. Let me go back. Okay, let me go to the repos. We have this repos, and okay. So let's do one thing. Let's try to create the pipeline actually, which we can really use to create my IAC, the infrastructure as a code pipeline. Okay, let's do that. So we are going to first of all create a new file. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to create a new file here. First, let me go back to the AKS. Let me see in case if I have is the status of my AKS. So stop or start. Yeah, perfect. So let's create one file where we are going to kind of create a deployment. So I'm going to create one IAC pipeline or IAC application which we are going to really use, and we are going to see that one. I think I have showed you that day. I don't know why this patch is not showing. Okay, no problem. So let's go back and let's try to create a new repository. I'm going to name this repository as IAC. Okay, and or Azure CLI. I'm just making it something like Azure CLI here, and I'm going to just create this. Okay, we have a complete altogether Azure CLI thing. I have already mentioned this one in my Azure CLI. I think if you go back here in my repositories, I should be having this Azure CLI as a repository which is already there. Okay, and I have already given you the Azure CLI code actually, which is already there, right? You can see here all the information is already provided. But let's see. Let's go ahead and kind of put up all this information in my here in this particular thing. So what I can do, I can first of all I can use this, and I can import this one rather than creating one. So let's import this existing. We don't have to really do anything here, but I think I will show you how we can really do it one by one. So you can have a repeated class also. Perfect. So I have this Azure CLI which I am going to which I have already created. Before creating anything, okay, we have a code which is already there. So I'm going to click on pipeline here, and in the pipeline, I'm going to mention a new pipeline. Okay, I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to select the Azure CLI, and I'm going to say I want a starter pipeline. Okay, so I'll just click on starter pipeline, and this particular starter pipeline is giving me this particular thing, right? Or let me go back and I'm going to say show more, and here I'm going to run something like a Azure CLI. Let's see in case if we can get something here, Azure CLI. Hmm. We don't have anything here. Okay, no worries. I'm going to get the the .NET here only. Not here, cancel, and I'm going to just get the docker here, build and push. But just I want to get this particular section. That's it, right? That's why I really use. I will delete this. I will go ahead and delete it. So I have a trigger, which is fine. I have main repositories and so every is fine. Variable is something which we are going to change because we are going to create a new variable. Build is something, and then there is a stage. We have a job, and then definitely we have a task here, and we are going to change everything here. Let's do the change. The first thing is, as a build one, I'm going to say deploy or maybe the IAC. I'm just making it as something like a IAC, infrastructure as a code, and I'm going to mention his infra as a code. Okay, using Azure, using Azure CLI, and name is again a deploy. Here also, I'm just going to say deploy. And this task, I'm not going to use it, right? I'm going to change this particular task, and that day I show you how we can really do it. So I'm going to change this task, and I'm going to also add some variables here. What are those variables? Let's see. So those variables are something like, where we are going to mention about our service connection name, where we are going to mention our RG name, where we are going to mention everything, whatever is available. I don't want to keep anything here in the variable, but I will be really putting everything in my variable group. And that day we have seen how we can really create a variable group. What is a variable group? Variable group is a grouping of all the variables which we are really mentioning, and we can store that in a very secure way. Perfect. So I don't want to really use that as a part of my pipeline. However, I want to keep that as a variable driven, which is a part of my pipeline. Perfect. Let's do that one by one. First, I'm going to change this task. I'm going to remove this, and I'm coming here just to ensure that when I'm creating or doing a task or adding a task from my pipeline, I can really go it. I can just mention Azure CLI here, and I can get this resource group, service connections. Okay. I'm going to select the batch here. I'm going to say inline script and say like I'm going to say Azure's easy account show, and I'm just putting on AZ create AZ ACR create something like this. And advanced, I'm going to say previous principle, working directory is fine, use global configuration is everything is fine. I'm just going to add it. Now once I add, you can see that it automatically take up all the information, my the subscription details and everything. Now these subscription details I can really go ahead and put up in my variables. But before that, I know that what I wanted to really change in these two commands, because these two commands are anyways not doing anything. So I will be changing these two commands into more specific commands which I want to really use. So where I can get the preference from them commands, or you can just go here. You can just copy paste these commands. That's it, as simple as that. So copy everything from here to here. Okay. So copy from here to here and come here and just paste it here. Only thing which you need to ensure that this is all is in same line, exactly same position. It should not be here and there. It should not be something like this, or should not be something like this. It should be always exactly on the same line because YAML thing, right? So you have to make sure that. Now, once we have all this configuration here, right? I have already added the configuration. What is actually happening here? In my command line, what is really happening? So first, I'm just using the Azure account show, which I can just remove. I don't really need this particular thing. Second command is the important one. I'm going to say, hey, create one ACR, okay, in the resource group, which I mentioned as RG group. ACR name is this one, standard, and then enable admin. Now if you see, right, in my variable I haven't really created anything here. I just provided one variable here, which is a tag. But where all I can really provide these variable names? What I can do is I can either provide them here, okay, as a part of my variable, or I can create a group for kind of like, so what we are going to do here, we are going to kind of like change this and we'll put up in the same pipeline here, to make you more simple. So I'm going to make it something like ACR or RG underscore name colon, and I'm going to give the RG name is RG demo, something like this, right? Let me go back in the pipeline when we really created last time. I'm going to open this, duplicate, and I'll go to repository, and in my pipeline, or sorry, in the repository itself, I'm going to Docker. Is it pipeline? Okay, so we have used this one, right? The one which we have created. I can really use this, or we can create a separate repository. So let's create that one. So let's create a new separate repository here. Sorry. So RG name is yeah, this is important because RG name we want. I don't want to use any other RG name. So what is the RG name we are using here? Okay, let me go back to my pipelines, and I'll go to libraries. I'll go to web application, and here I can, okay, there's no RG name here. Web app. Mm, I'm going to this one. No, for this one only Docker, right? From where we are getting this. So web app. I think I haven't really added the RG name here. No issues. I'm going to use the separate RG name here. Let me see. Or I will quickly check in my service connection. So when I'm using this one, what is the RG name we have used? Okay, CR demo. This is the one which we have created. Perfect. I think I can use any RG here, no problem. Let's see in case if we can really create. So I'm going to create one resource group here, a new resource group, and let's create everything in that particular resource group. I'm going to say select, or it's there already a resource group available. I have multiple. ACR new. Executed, right? I think I can go to pipeline. I'll go to this particular pipeline. I'll say deploy. Web services, registry, web app, back, go to app services. Yeah, so this is there. Okay, ACR new. This is the registry name. Perfect. So let's go back. Pipeline. I'm going to create a new pipeline and select a pipeline. I'm just saying Azure, existing Azure pipeline, which we are going to use. Or maybe I'll just click on here, new pipeline, which is fine. I don't want this. I'm going to copy the entire thing here. It is okay. I can just copy this entire thing from this to this, or copy everything and put it here. It's also okay. Okay. So this is a structure, and this is the kind of like easy way we can just copy paste everything whatever we have. Now I'm just going to change this particular thing. I don't want to really use this one, or I can create the .NET. I am going to just make a small changes. So I'm going to create a group name here, which I'm just doing web app hyphen or Azure CLI uh, pipeline PL, right, pipeline. And I'm going to create a new resource group here, or maybe the group here. So I will open this in a new window, and in the new variable group I'm going to create a new variable group here with the name of this. And what all information I need to really put up? I need to put up the first of all rg underscore name. So what is my rg name? The rg name is this. I'll copy this and I'll put up here. Sorry, I'll put up here. Second thing is, because I need to really understand this particular thing, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm just provisioning the resources. I have put up the task which is for Azure CLI. Then it is going and connecting with the service connection. So I need to really use this as a service connection. So I can copy this service connection and go back to my library, and I can put up another one, and I can say service connection here, which is the service connection name or a value which I have. For that one, I can go to my project settings. I can go to my service connection, and I just need to copy the service connection name, whatever I have. I'll just copy this. I'll come back. I'll put up here. Perfect. What else we need? We had done with the service connection. Now RG name is something which we have. So I need to make sure that we are using the RG name. I think I have used the RG name as a small underscore here. I need to change it to RG name. Okay. Then ACR username. Okay, which is automatically the name of my ACR. So what I will do, I will copy this ACR username and I will put up here, and I'm going to create a new ACR because I want to create something new. I will just say RK ACR new demo 730, something like this. I'll just mention something like this, right? Second thing is, once I'm done with the ACR username, the second option which I'm going to put up here is the RG name is fine. Now I'm done with the RG name. Every places Azure web application name. I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to say, okay, let's add up a name of my Azure web application also. So I'm going to mention a name which is RK new web app 730, something like this. Okay, so I am going to say ACR and new web app, and 730 is the name which I'm going to really create. So these are the four things which I have. Anything else I need? So I've done with the service connection. I have provided service connection. I have provided RG name, username I provided. Password is anyways it is going to get that password, which is fine. As your name is fine, as your name is there, so everything. So these are the four kind of like variables I need to really put up in my library, or in my in my variable group. So once I'm done with this one, I will just save it, and I should be good. I will copy this library name. I'll go here. I will copy this name of my whatever I've created. I think it's Azure CLI. It should be CLI. I'll just save it, and I will copy it and go back here, and I will change this to group name to the Azure CLI. Tag is everything is fine. I don't really need this tag now because I'm not going to use any tags here. Whatever you can really see here, I'm not really using anything here. So I'm just removing this one. Only thing is the image name which I'm using as a part of my deployment as a VM image, because it's running on a VM image in the pipeline. So I'm just going to use that one. Okay, perfect. So all set. You can see that it is going to create everything. It is going to automatically add and create everything. Currently, if I go back and I see that I don't have any app services which is really aligned with the name which I have provided, right? 730 or something. I don't have anything. I'm going to create that. So let's create. Let's run this pipeline. So I will just save and run. And I'll just say created a pipeline. I'll just comment created a pipeline to create in resources in Azure. Perfect. Save and run. So far, any questions, guys? Are you following me? Okay, first time I'm going to create and I'm say permit. Yes, permit, permit. Meanwhile, I'm going to delete these two things because I don't need that. It's a necessary cost for me. So I'm just mentioning this one. Delete, delete. This one also I'm going to delete. I will go to ACR container registries. I will see whether the container registries. So right now there is only one container registry which is available. Let me refresh. Let me go back to my pipeline. So it is login and it is running. So even I'm now going to delete this registry because I don't need this registry anymore. I will just delete it. So now the first thing is it created this ACR new and what actually is done. Let me refresh. So if I go back, if I just refresh, I go back to the resource group here and I will go to my ACR new resource group and I can see most of the things are really coming up, right? I can see there is a registry which is created, there is a web application which is created, there is a plan actually which is created, and we have also said I want to really see or enable my access keys. So as an admin I should be able to create this one. So what I can see, yes, I think it's already there. So my active enablement is done. So my first execution, right, my first if I go back, so this is running, but if I compare that with what I really wanted, it is all getting created. So if I go back to my Azure pipeline, I can see that, okay, first I'm saying, hey, go ahead and create ACR and enable the, I'll just expand this one. So I'm saying, hey, go ahead and create the ACR. When you are creating, make sure you are using this resource group, make sure you are creating it using this particular name, adding a standard one and enabling the admin credential. Perfect. Then get these credentials and then create a service plan, then create a web application. Once you create the web application, create a slot as a dev and then update my configuration with the Docker names and everything in the both things. Perfect. Let's go back and let's see what all things actually is there. So I can go back to my system. I can see every, at least this particular piece is there. I will go to my service here. I can see, yes, it's under the ACR already created. I can now go to my deployment center. Okay, so in the deployment center there is nothing because I've just kind of like haven't really provided. I just mentioned there will be a Docker configuration, and if I go to Docker here in the configuration setting, I should see my all Docker configuration set up here. Yes, I can see everything is here. If I click on this, I can see all the details, like, it automatically picked up the username, password, and everything, whichever I have. And if I go to slots, I should also see the slot is, right? And I can click on this particular slot and I can see that whether this slot is created and what kind of a configuration it is really taking up. Okay, I can go back to the configuration. Okay, so here the updates are not really happening because we haven't really pushed anything there. When I'm really doing the pipeline here, I've just set up the configuration only for my first thing, and we can also do that for the other thing. That's okay, but I'm just wanted to show you that, Anna, how we can really control that using our entire pipeline. So far with me, guys, any questions on this one? Because I want you to really execute this one. You already have a code available in this particular pipeline. So you go to the my repository, you download the code from here as it is, whatever you have. You just have to make small changes. What you have to just change this, create the group, okay, variable group, update all the values. What all those values? Only four values. Four values is like five values rather. Service connection, RG name, your username, and web application name. Only four things. That's the only four things which you need to really create. While creating, you need to ensure that you are putting up the variable name as this one and the values definitely as yours. Perfect. Any questions, guys, before we wrap up? Anything from anyone?
The username and password will be our login username and password, or we are going to declare it.
No, no, no. It is automatically taking that, not username. We don't have to mention that username and a password here, because username and a password is automatically picking up from the ACR itself. So we don't have to manually provide that.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this username, why actually I added a username here, because username of a ACR and the name of the ACR is same. The ACR name and the ACR's admin username is same. If I go back and show you, right? If I go back here, if I click here, I go to access keys, you can see, right? Registry name and the username is same. It's exactly
Uh,
same.
yeah, yeah, got it.
That's why.
Yeah.
Password will be different. Exactly. But registry name generally will get like this. So you will be having a URL, then your username, and then this is a password. So these are the three things. Forget about this registry name. Registry name, actual registry name will be this one. You have to use this one. Whenever you are creating any image or pushing any image, you will have to go with this URL. Always login server URL is important, and that will automatically have a register name and then everything, and username, as I mentioned, right, by default it's the same, and you cannot change also, exactly the same, which really goes with.
Okay.
Perfect. So that's it for today, guys. Please do practice. I think you really need a lot of practice. Spend some time, get things do on the things right, read out the reviews, and make sure you are really aligned with this one. You just have to copy paste this code, that's it. Just follow the steps, 1 2 3 4, and there are not many steps here. There are very few steps which are really involved. Just perform those steps and get it things done, because everything nowadays, whatever I'm going to really show you, it's all scripting, it's all command things, it's all like, you go here, copy paste this thing, put it here, and should be good. Because you should get familiar with these processes. You should really get familiar with this all options, whatever I'm showing you. Okay.
And one last question, Arthur. So this is the general code which every company will be using, or this is just a sample?
This is the code which most of the companies uses. This is
I mean,
not
the
just a
similar.
sample.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So it's a real world code which I'm actually giving. Yeah, there might be hundred of things, right? I'm giving you a very small subset of this one. They might be having, more details here. But to start with, right? To start with, you can really go with this one. And this can get applicable to anything, anywhere you can use. Okay. So
No, okay, okay.
in
Yeah.
your interview, if they ask you how you are really doing it today, you just have to follow this particular steps. You have to say that, look, everything, whatever the variables we have, we are saving that in a variable group. Whenever we are trying to run anything, we are running that using Azure CLI. We have a separate CI/CD pipeline. We have separate IAC pipeline. We have separate CI pipeline. We have separate CD pipeline. We have separate IAC pipeline. Okay, then we have a access controls, and when we are executing in the code, this is the follow standard. You cannot really change. Yes, this lines might be changed, because in some cases you are creating ACR, in some cases you might be creating Kubernetes, in some cases you might be using some other services. That's the only change. But apart from that, the structure will be exactly same.
No, okay, okay.
Okay, it's like, you have a one mold, and on that one mold you are creating one maybe statue, right? Now which color you want to use for that statue, it's up to you. You are just getting a, a kind of like a white colored some statue, and then it's up to you what color you want to really put up. So this is a white color statue which I'm giving you, yeah, with some
Yeah, yeah, got
colors,
it.
some
The
eyes
structure
and
will be
everything. But
same, but
exactly, the structure will be same. Maybe what you want to really put up, how you want to design, what all ornaments you want to really put up, it's all up to you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
No worries, guys. I think that's great. Thank you, and have a great day ahead. Keep practicing, understand, keep looking at all the options, go through and get indulged with this particular, the understanding about the oral stuff. Perfect. That's it then, guys. I think, yeah, we'll talk to you tomorrow regarding things. Bye.